All right, finally, our number one running back in college football entering the 2024 season should not be a shock to anyone who it is, Dalton. It is the reigning, defending Doak Walker Award winner himself, Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. Dalton, this guy was freaking unbelievable for the Cowboys last year.
He's electric. I mean, there's just nothing else you can say. Doak Walker Award winner, nation's rushing leader, second in touchdowns, second in yards after contact, most explosive plays, just incredible speed, 90.4 rush grade. And to think again that he put up 1,732 rush yards in basically 10 games, right? And you're talking about he only had 19 carries his first 3 games. He was just ripping off big runs left and right. His speed is just amazing. I mean, he's a home run waiting to happen. You talk about a home run hitter, it's Ollie Gordon. You talk about carrying a team, man. A team that was 102nd in the country in run blocking grade, a team that was not a great passing offense at all. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew Ollie Gordon was getting the ball 25 to 30 times, and he still found a way to just explode onto the scene. I just find it amazing. We talk about those first 3 games where he didn't get a lot of run. I think he had 50-ish, 53 yards against Arizona State. But those first 3 games, Max, were against Central Arkansas, Arizona State, and South Alabama, and he barely played. Had he played in those 3 games, you're talking about a guy who could have had a 22 to 2,300 yard season. Legit.
On the ground. On the ground.
On the ground. That's just on the ground.
He had 2,100 yards total this year, even with that.
You really could have been talking about, we've talked about Ashton Ginty and the 2,500 total yard goal. He could have had that had Oklahoma State known what he was those first 3 games, because those are the 3 softest games on their schedule. I mean, just incredible. The speed is what jumps out, Max. It's just incredible speed. The fastest returning running back in college football, tops out over 23 miles an hour. Just, you can see it. It just jumps out when he gets. They talk about the old phrase with receivers, if he's even is leaving. If Ollie's even, you just walk to the sideline, because it's just. I mentioned this to you last time when we did the full ranking. I got to grade his game against Cincinnati, and it was just, he put up 270 yards that night, just incredible. I was like, you can see the difference when he gets even with these linebackers and safeties. He busts angles, man. It's just, there's guys who break ankles and there's guys who break angles. And he's the latter. It's just crazy. You talk about, I don't know if he could run what the 40 would be right now, if it's a 4.3 or if it's a 4.2. All I know is on tape and in our athleticism tracking that we have, it's elite stuff. And this guy, he's a big play machine, and that's how he got to Doak Walker. It's how he led the nation in rushing, and he should have another huge year in front of him.
Yeah, 92.7 GAS rating. So basically a 93rd percentile athlete this past year, which again, game athleticism score that we have at PFF can track your speed and can track your change of direction ability and a lot of other metrics that go into athleticism. So a 93rd percentile athlete, 23.1 miles per hour, which is top speed this year, fastest among any Power 5 running back and third fastest in all of college football for running backs as well. I mentioned it, 1,743 rushing yards, 330 receiving yards as well, which were third among Power 5 running backs. So over 2,000 yards, almost 2,100 yards from scrimmage for Ollie Gordon this past year. Second in the country with 21 rushing touchdowns. Second in the country, like you said, with 1,056 yards after contact. You mentioned 19 total carries in his first 3 games, 25 total touches in his first 3 games as well. So if they really knew what they had, like you said, it could have been a 2,500 yard season easily for Ollie Gordon, especially with how easy those defenses were that he was playing against. Also, Oklahoma State, 102nd in run blocking grade, too. This guy was creating a lot on his own, Dalton. I think he's got elite vision, elite footwork, elite speed. I mean, he's got everything. He's got the total package at running back. And I think, Dalton, out of all the positions in college football last year, the only position that returns the number 1 player is running back with Ollie Gordon. Every other position in college football, in my opinion, lost the top player to the NFL draft. The only one that's coming back to school is at running back, and it's Ollie Gordon, which is why, in my opinion, he's easily the number 1 player on this list. But if we're going to nitpick and we're going to find some hole in his game, Dalton, what is the negative you see in Ollie Gordon?
There's 2 things moving forward. One is that situation. I do hope their offensive line and their passing game gets better so they have balance in their offense. But he doesn't make as many people miss as you might think. A .24 missed tackles forced per attempt rate is decent, but it's not the elite marks that we've seen, say, out of other guys like Bijan Robinson or Trey Benson or some of these guys we talk about missed tackle machines. Ollie's not like that yet. Now, maybe that's coming. Maybe we just don't know what's coming yet, and the speed is just the baseline. Now, again, he breaks angles instead of ankles, right? That's fine. Like Chris Johnson used to be like that. If he got a crease, you can just walk to the sideline. He's going to score. So Ollie's always going to have the speed. I'm curious if he adds just a little more of a dynamic factor because he did have a good receiving total. I think you said over 300 yards.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like dynamic yet, like making people miss after the catch. Like his first step, even coming out of a break, especially out of routes, could be even better. It's crazy to think this guy, we have him number one on this list. He's not a finished product yet.
No,
it's the same way. It's the same way we've been talking about James Pierce Jr. on defense, where it's like, oh, he's not even fully there yet. There's his agility, his lateral quickness, his first step could get even better, and the top end speed. He's already maybe the fastest player in college football. I think we're on 2,000 yard watch for Ollie Gordon. Yes. First of all, the full complement of 12, 13, 14 games, and second, the fact that he's not a finished product. He's not. There is more in his game that leaves you like, oh, this guy. He could be by far in a great group of backs, by far the best back in college football by the end of this year, by far, because the combination of home run speed and the ability to do those other things. I think about like how versatile a guy like Breece Hall is, right? How he was a home run hitter, but he was so good in short yardage and he could catch the ball and he could do all those things. Those are the things Ollie doesn't even have yet, and we have him number one on this list. So the more I thought about, I told you I thought about Ashton Ginty number one, or you could think about an Ohio State backer. It's just there's such a ceiling on this guy, and I know first-round running backs have been coming less and less lately, but Ollie with another huge year could be a first-round back next year because the home run speed and the potential is just undeniable.
I agree with you, man. I think there's still more to be tapped into his game. He runs a bit upright, and he is a taller running back too, at 6'1", which is why I think the forced missed tackle numbers are average right now, or at least above average, not elite. Is that he runs a little bit upright, so it is when you get a hand on him, it is pretty easily to go down because he does run up a little bit upright. His hands are a little inconsistent too. 8% drop rate in his career. A lot of drops that I was watching for him, he just turns around and tries to get off quickly. Like he tries to get to the second level of the defense immediately instead of seeing the ball in, which makes sense considering how fast of a player he is. And obviously, when he gets the ball in his hands, he just wants to go. But sometimes that leads to some concentration drops sometimes for Ollie Gordon. But man, other than that, man, I think there's not a lot else in his game to be. He's he's above average pass blocker too, which is good. Yeah, man, I think he, along with some other guys, he's going to go for the Doak Walker Award for the second time ever. The only other running backs ever to win the Doak Walker Award twice, Jonathan Taylor, Darren McFadden, and Ricky Williams. Those are the only players ever to win the Doak Walker Award multiple times. That is what Ollie Gordon is going for next year, and I think he's got a damn good shot at it. So before we go, Dalton, I wanted to ask you a couple quick hitters on Ollie Gordon. Number one, is Ollie Gordon the best player in college football?
The best player? Boy, we got some defensive freaks this year. He might be the best offensive player. I might get in on that. We got some freaks on defense. We've got James Pierce. We've got Mason Graham. We've got Will Johnson, Caleb Downs. We got a lot more freaks on defense this year. You could probably sell me that he's the best offensive player because I think, again, you talked about he's the one guy who was the best at his position and came back. We'll see which quarterback emerges. If we get somebody who has a Jaden Daniels-like breakout or something like that, or, some of our top receivers, McMillan and Burden and if anybody, we love Trey Harris and Emeka Ibuka. I think you could sell me, though, that he's the best offensive player. It would take more nitpicking and arguing about some of these defensive guys are freaks, man. I mean, Mason Graham, Deion Walker from Kentucky, you know how much we love him. James Pierce we have as the number one pick in the draft right now. I think that's where I might draw the line because then we're talking about crossing over the other side of the ball. But if you told me you think Ollie Gordon's the best offensive player in the country, I don't take a ton of issue with that.
Okay, I think I might argue him as the best player overall in college football, and I think it goes into my next question. What should his rating be in the EA College Football 25 game that's coming out?
I'm gonna small sample him. The speed always kills in those video
Yeah.
games, man. I'm gonna go with this small sample thing because it's like 10 games and I'm gonna give him like a 97. It's hard to give out
Okay,
those 99.
that's
It's
fair.
hard to give out those 99s, man. You know, 99s are it's a special club, but I might go like 97 going and I might give him 99 speed. Might do that.
I think you should. I think you should. I think
That
97, 98 is fair for him. I'm a big believer. Nobody, unless you're absolutely generational talent, should be a 99 overall. So I think 97, 98 is fair for Ollie Gordon. I think I would argue he and Travis Hunter might be the highest rated players in the game, honestly, when it's all said and done. So that's what we got for Ollie Gordon, our number one player, our number one running back, excuse me, for the 2024 season. My number one player in college football entering 2024. We're going to do a lot more of these for every single position in college football. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more of those lists. But for Dalton Wasserman, I'm Max Chadwick, and we'll see you guys next time.